The old woman stood at the edge of the village road, her thin frame wrapped in a faded shawl, staring down the long stretch of dirt path that disappeared into the horizon. The evening sun bathed her silver hair in a golden glow, making her look almost ethereal, as if time itself had stopped to watch her wait. The same path she'd been watching for 15 years. The same hope she'd refused to give up. Her name was Zulukar Begum, but to the people of the village, she was simply known as the Golden Grandmother. Her heart was pure gold, gentle, giving, unbroken even after a lifetime of pain. Yet that evening, as the sky bled into crimson, even her faith began to tremble. If you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps keep stories of love and hope alive for the world to hear. Years ago, before her hands became frail and her back bent from years of labor, Zulukar was the life of her small world. She had been a widow since her mid-30s, yet she never complained. Her husband, Rashid, had died in an accident when her children were still young. With no money and no support, she turned to what she knew best: sewing. Every morning before sunrise, she sat by the small window in her mud-walled home, patching torn clothes, stitching dreams for others, while hers quietly faded. Her fingers bled often, but she never stopped smiling. She raised 3 children through sheer willpower and prayer, 2 sons and a daughter. She sacrificed everything for them: her health, her youth, her comfort. Her only dream was to see them educated and safe. And for a while, it seemed as though fate had finally rewarded her devotion. Her eldest son found a good job in the city. Her younger son got married and moved out. Her daughter, Aisha, was accepted into a college in another town. For a moment, life looked brighter. Zulukar had no gold, no jewels, but her heart glowed with pride. But the cruel truth of love is that it is often forgotten in comfort. As her children grew richer, their visits grew rarer. They sent her money sometimes, but never themselves. Phone calls became shorter. Birthdays went unremembered, and her once bustling home turned silent. She told her neighbors she was happy, that her children were busy building their lives. She smiled when they asked about them, but when night fell, she sat alone under the dim kerosene lamp, holding old family photos and whispering their names like prayers. One rainy night, as the monsoon winds howled through the village, Zulukar heard a soft knock at her door. When she opened it, she found a young girl drenched to the bone, clutching a small schoolbag to her chest. The girl's eyes were wide with fear and hunger. She said her name was Sarner, and that she had run away from home after her stepfather beat her. Without hesitation, Zulukar brought her inside, wrapped her in a blanket, and fed her warm rice and lentils. That night, as thunder rumbled outside, something long dormant in her heart awoke again. Days turned into months, and Sarner became the light of Zulukar's fading world. The girl helped her with chores, read to her from old storybooks, and filled the house with laughter again. Zulukar taught her how to sew, how to cook, and how to pray before sleeping. People in the village began to call them Nanny and her little dove. It was as if fate had sent Sarner to return to her the love she had given so freely all her life. For the first time in years, Zulukar wasn't waiting anymore, she was living again. But peace in her life was always temporary. One morning, while Zulukar and Sarner were hanging clothes under the bright sky, a car stopped outside the house. It was an expensive car, the kind rarely seen in their poor village. Out stepped a well-dressed man wearing dark glasses. Zulukar's heart stopped. She recognized that face. It was her eldest son, Adil, the one she hadn't seen in over a decade. At first, she was overcome with joy. Tears welled up as she tried to hug him. but he stepped back awkwardly, brushing dust from his sleeve. He said he was there to check on her, and after some hesitation, revealed the real reason for his visit. The government had announced plans to develop a new commercial road, and her small piece of land was part of it. If she sold it, she could live comfortably for the rest of her life, he said. But she saw through his words. The land wasn't valuable to her, it was home, but to him, it was just a transaction. She gently refused, saying she wanted to live her last years where her husband had once planted their mango tree, where her children had learned to walk. Adil's tone turned cold. He accused her of being manipulated by Sonar, claiming the girl was just after her money. Zulikar's heart broke hearing those words from the son she had raised with love and sacrifice. He left angrily that evening, vowing to return with proper papers. In the following weeks, Zulikar grew quieter. The confrontation had shaken her, and her health began to decline. Yet Sonar stayed by her side, caring for her like her own grandmother. She would massage her aching hands, cook her favorite lentil soup, and sit beside her every evening, listening to her stories of the past. The old woman would smile faintly and whisper, "You are the blessing my prayers sent me." But the storm wasn't over. One day, Adil returned not with love, but with greed burning in his eyes. He brought lawyers and officials, demanding she sign the property over to him. When she refused again, his patience snapped. He shouted, accusing her of choosing a stranger over her own blood. His words cut deeper than knives. The villagers gathered outside, their faces filled with disbelief as the man screamed at the mother who had given him everything. Through her tears, Zulikar said quietly, "If kindness makes her my blood, then she is more my child than you ever were." Her voice trembled, but her spirit did not. Adil left in fury, and that was the last time she saw him. The following months were a battle against time. Zulikar's body began to fail her. The doctors said her heart was weak, and she needed rest and proper care. Sonar took her to the city hospital, using money she had saved from working as a cleaner. She refused to leave her side, sleeping on the floor beside her bed every night. One night, as rain pattered softly against the window, Zulikar called Sonar close. Her voice was barely a whisper, her eyes glassy but full of love. She told her not to be angry at Adil, to forgive him, because bitterness only destroys the one who carries it. "Promise me," she said, "you'll keep helping others, even when the world forgets you. That's what makes a heart golden." The next morning, when the nurse entered the room, Zulikar was gone. Her face was peaceful, as if she were merely sleeping. Sana sat beside her, clutching her frail hand, tears falling silently. The sunlight streamed through the window, casting a golden glow across her still body, as though heaven itself was welcoming her home. The village mourned her deeply. They carried her to the small cemetery near the mango tree she had loved so much. Children she had clothed and fed years ago came to pay their respects, now grown, whispering prayers for the woman who had given them hope when no one else did. Her grave was simple, but her story spread far beyond the village. People began calling her the Golden Grandmother, the woman whose kindness never died. Sonar, true to her promise, transformed Zulikar's small house into a free sewing school for orphaned girls. She named it the Golden Thread Home. Every stitch sewn there carried a memory of Zulikar's gentle hands. Every smile from a student echoed her laughter. The once quiet house was now filled with chatter, music, and life, the very things Zulikar had missed for so long. Years later, on the anniversary of her passing, a stranger arrived at the school. It was Adil. He looked older, worn, and humbled. He asked if he could see the school his mother had dreamed of. Sonar welcomed him quietly. As he walked through the rooms filled with sewing machines and laughter, tears rolled down his cheeks. He touched the framed photograph of Zulukar that hung near the entrance. In that moment, he realized what he had truly lost: not land, not wealth, but a love so pure it could never be replaced. That night, Adil stayed for the evening prayers. When the children sang softly, he closed his eyes, hearing his mother's voice in the wind. He knelt before her photo and whispered an apology that came too late but still carried truth. "You were right, Ami," he said quietly. "Your heart was the real gold." From that day onward, Adil began funding the school anonymously, ensuring no girl in the village would ever be helpless again. It was his way of trying to repay a debt he could never truly erase. And though Zulukar was gone, her golden light continued to shine through every act of kindness, every selfless heart, every tear wiped away by love. Even today, the villagers tell her story to their children. They say that when the evening sun sets over the mango tree, a golden glow spreads across her grave, as if she's smiling, watching over them all. And perhaps she is. For love like hers never fades, it becomes the light that guides others home. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and share it with someone who believes in kindness, forgiveness, and love that never dies. Your support helps keep stories like this alive for generations to come. Speech balloon before you go. Tell us in the comments, what is the most beautiful lesson your grandmother or someone you love deeply taught you about kindness or forgiveness?